Hey yo, this one goes out to all of my fellow comrades who have not had the pleasure of defeating the great Crystalline Hunllef. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a nice little step-by-step guide for all of you who have been avoiding the Gauntlet for way too long. It is time to get that enhanced crystal weapon seed, currently going for 145 million GP. Before we get started, I just wanted to say a quick little thank you for tuning into this video, and I hope you find it helpful. The first thing that you're going to want to know is, how do I get there? And if your house is not currently in Prif, I recommend you teleport to Nightmare Zone, buy a few scrolls of redirection, and then just use the scrolls on the teleport, the home teleport. You can buy them with the GE. If you're an Iron Man, you know how to make them. And all you got to do is put them together and then choose Prif. And then all you got to do is you teleport to Prifness, and you're going to run slightly northeast. If it's your first time doing the Gauntlet, then you have to talk to Bryn, have a little dialogue with the homie. It takes like 2 seconds. One thing to remember is that we cannot bring any items into the Gauntlet, sometimes not even our sanity. It is also a dangerous minigame for all you hardcore Iron Men out there. One thing to know is that when you first enter the Gauntlet, your first time, you're gonna die. You just want to kind of get a feel for how it all works. You don't even have to die, you don't have to go into the boss fight. I recommend that you just walk around a few different rooms, see what you're supposed to do. The most important thing that you're going to want to remember about the Gauntlet, especially if you're starting out, is the number 7. It sounds weird, but you're going to want 7 of what you use the axe for, what you use the pickaxe for, and the linen. So you want 7 of that, this way you can make tier 2 armor. Before we go in, I recommend going into the plugin hub on RuneLite and use the Gauntlet minimap plugin. This way, when you're in the rooms, you can see exactly in the minimap what each item is. Once we go into the Gauntlet, in the top left is going to be the singing bowl, and that is where you create your potions, your armor, your weapons. It's kind of where you create everything. The middle is if you forget something. Let's say you dropped your pestle and mortar, which you use to create the potions, and you need to get it back. You just click on the middle. Bottom left is going to be the recipes, and in the bottom right is going to be where you cook your food. And in the top right is where you leave if you're having a panic attack. You can click on the corner of each room to unlock it, and then immediately start gathering supplies, whatever is around you in the surrounding area. This is where you want to remember the number 7, as I mentioned before, because you use this to create tier 2 armor, which is more important than perfected weapons, especially while you're learning. And that's going to be 7 bark, 7 ore, and 7 linen. While you are gathering supplies in the first starting rooms around your initial circle or square, you're going to kill the low-level monsters until you get a weapon frame, and you're going to use that weapon frame on the singing bowl to make yourself a weapon. I recommend that you fill up your inventory as quickly as possible and come back to the main room and drop your supplies, because you don't have enough inventory to hold everything on your first go. Now, the only 2 things left before we're ready to take on the boss is potions. In the starter room in the top left, you're going to get 2 vials from the singing bowl, and you're going to fill them up with water, which is right next to the cooking stove. And then you're going to add 2 herbs that you can find around the map into the potion. Then you're going to grind 2 of your crystal shards, technically 20 of your crystal shards, and add them to the potion, and voila. The last thing that you're going to want to do before you enter the boss is you're going to kill the mid-level bosses, and this way you can get perfected weaponry. I'm going to leave it up on the screen what each does and which goes to which. Earlier I mentioned the importance of the tier 2 armor. If you can only get tier 2 armor and 1 perfected weapon rather than 2, that is totally fine, totally doable, even for your first attempt. That's perfectly fine. But the aim is you're going to want 2 perfected weapons and tier 2 armor. That's the goal. The reason that you're going to need 2 different weapons when fighting Hunllef is because every 5 attacks, I believe, Hunllef is going to protect against what you are currently attacking. Okay, now let's get into the actual boss fight itself. First of all, Hunllef is always going to be attacking with ranged first. He goes on a 3 attack cycle throughout the entire fight. It's a little confusing at first to get used to it, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually very, very easy. Every 3 attacks, you just switch from protect from ranged to protect from magic. Helpful tip: never run under Hunllef, as he will do a smashing stomp, which will hurt you very profusely. During the fight, there is going to be a portion of the floor that gets highlighted. I believe it starts blue and then it turns yellow. You want to avoid that. Whenever the floor turns, you see the floor get highlighted, you're going to want to run away from the highlighted tiles in the floor. The only other attack style is going to be when Hunllef summons lightning, I believe it is, and you're just going to run around in circles avoiding the lightning until it goes away. It can definitely be a bit confusing at first while you're switching your prayers and trying to avoid the floor and trying to avoid the lightning. It can get a little hectic, which is why it's definitely higher end in terms of bosses. The best, most helpful thing I can recommend is to try to survive as long as possible. It's not about getting the kill the quickest, it's about learning the mechanics, so this way it doesn't matter if the boss fight takes you an insane amount of time, as long as you survive the fight. This is especially true when you have the lightning following you around and the floor is changing and Hunllef is attacking you. Do not focus on attacking Hunllef during that. Wait till you have yourself under control, and then you can get back to attacking with the correct style. I really hope that you found this guide to be helpful. Please feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions. And I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Thank you for all the support on the channel. Subscribe, like, comment. ZZQ out.